Hey y'all, welcome back to Nini's Texas Kitchen. Today I'm going to make an apricot sweet roll wreath. And so the things that you're going to need for it, I'm going to give you the list. So pause it right quick and go grab a pen and paper so you can write down your ingredients. So for the actual dough itself, you're going to need 2 cups of bread flour, or 250 grams if you want to weigh it out. You're going to need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, which is 5 grams. You're going to need 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, or 7 grams. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of butter, or 50 grams. You need 105 milliliters of whole milk, or you can use 1/4 of a cup plus 3 tablespoons of whole milk. And you need 1 medium to large egg at room temperature, and the milk you need it at room temperature also. That's to make the actual dough. For the filling that's going to go inside the sweet bun ring is you need 90 grams of softened butter, which is the same as about 7 tablespoons. You need 70 grams of light brown sugar, which is 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. You need 120 grams of dried apricots that you've chopped up, which equals out to about 3/4 of a cup. And you need to soak it in 100 milliliters of orange juice, which is 1/2 cup. You need 35 grams of regular all-purpose flour, which is 1/3 of a cup. You need 2/3 of a cup of chopped pecans, which is 65 grams. And for the finish, you're going to glaze it with some apricot preserves that you heat up with a little bit of water in it just to thin it down some. And you'll need 1/3 cup of that. And then you'll make another icing that's just a sugar icing to drizzle over the top. And for that, you'll need 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, which is about 100 grams of powdered sugar. And you'll need just a tiny bit of water, just like a teaspoon or 2, to put in there and thin it down so you can drizzle it over the top. So those are all the ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe. So the first thing that you need to do is make the dough. So for the dough, I have my 2 cups of bread flour here, and I'm going to add my other ingredients to this. I have the softened butter, which is 50 grams or 3 tablespoons. And I'm just going to plop it into the center of that. Then I have the 5 grams or 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put that on one side of the bowl. I have the 7 grams or 2 1/4 of a teaspoon of yeast, active yeast, dry yeast, that I'm going to put on the opposite side of the bowl from the salt. And then I have my 1 whole egg that's been cracked, of course. And I have my 105 milliliters, or how much did I say it was? It is 1/4 of a cup plus 3 tablespoons of whole milk at room temperature. So I'll pour that in. And now I just got to get my hook and start the dough making. Alright, here we go. Start out slow when you mix, because you don't want to fling your flour out everywhere. And just get it going. Once it starts going, you can turn up the speed. You can do this by hand. It just takes longer for you to knead it until you get a nice smooth dough. It'll probably take about 10 minutes or so in the stand mixer with the dough hook. And you can see all the dough is starting to come together. so now I'm just going to let it keep kneading in here for about 10 minutes or so. If you do it by hand, it might take 15 minutes or so by hand to stretch it and make the dough gluten get stretchy in your flour. So we're just going to keep going like this with it for about 10 minutes. When it's ready to go into for our first rise, we'll come back and show you. All right, y'all, our dough is ready. It took about 7 or 8 minutes, didn't take long. And it's a nice smooth dough, but it's also soft. And if you know your dough is ready, if you do the window pane method, which is where you stretch the dough, and you can see light through it, but it doesn't tear. So all I did was spray a little bit of oil spray in there just so it doesn't stick while it's rising, and I'm just going to flip it around in there a few times. And this is an enriched dough, so that means it has egg and milk in it. So I'm going to cover it, and it's going to take approximately an hour to rise. And that's the first rise. And so now I'm going to put it in I have a bread rising or proofing setting on my stove. So I'm going to put it in there, and I want it to double in size. So I've covered it with cling wrap, and I'm just going to put it inside and let it rise. So you want to set your timer and then check it at an hour. In the meantime, you can make the filling. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just breaking up my pecans into small pieces. If you want to use a chopper, you can use a chopper. I'm just doing this because it's not that many pecans. It doesn't take very long. So we'll be back in a few minutes and show you how to make the rest of the filling. All right, now we're going to go ahead and make our filling, and we can just set it aside while we wait for our dough to finish rising and shape it and everything. So what you need to do is have a strainer, because you want to strain the orange juice off of your apricots before you bake the filling. So I'm just going to strain those out like so. And when you get the dried apricots, just make sure you chop them up into small pieces, which is what I did. So as you can see, they're like little round discs, and I just chopped them up into little tiny pieces, just using a knife and a cutting board. So now I'm going to add my pecans in. I'm going to add in the brown sugar. And don't forget, the brown sugar is a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. And then you need to add in your flour, which is 35 grams or 1/3 cup. I'm going to stir all that up. Coat everything really good. Make sure your brown sugar bits are all broken up into pieces. Just coat it, and then you want to add in your softened butter. And this is the 7 tablespoons of softened butter. It's not quite as soft as I want, so I'm just going to heat it up a little bit in the microwave. If you do this and you heat your butter up in the microwave, just make sure you do for like 10 seconds at a time. You don't want to get it melted, you just want to get it softened. Mostly soft. We're going to do like 8 seconds. There's only one side that was still a little bit not as soft as I wanted. All right, let's see. Yep, that's good. All right, so now I'm going to put in my softened butter like so. I've heard other people say a trick to soften butter faster too is to set it over a glass of hot water, which you can do that, but then it has to sit there for a while, and I just prefer to stick mine in the microwave for a short, a few second bursts at a time to get it to the level of softness that I want. Then you just stir it all up like this, and it's kind of making an apricot pecan paste with the brown sugar and flour and butter. So now I'm just going to leave this setting to the side, and then once our dough is finished rising, we'll roll it out and spread this over like it'll be spread in the middle. Then we'll show you how to shape it, let it rise again, and bake it. So we'll be back shortly. All right, y'all. Our dough rose in the oven in the proving setting for about an hour, and it has doubled in size. So now I'm going to turn it out onto a lightly floured surface, like so, and roll it out. You want to roll it out to approximately 10 by 15 inch size. And then we will put our filling on it, and then I'll show you how to shape it. All right, that's pretty close. So now you'll take your filling and just put it on here. This is the filling that we made earlier, and you just want to spread it out all over the dough, like so. As evenly as possible. And then we will roll it up. All right, pretty good. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to roll it like so and kind of pull and stretch it back towards me as I roll it. And then just bring your sides around like so and pinch it on there like this. And then just sort of roll it like that to seal your edges up. Then you want to take a pastry cutter like so. Just chop the ends off because they just have a bunch of dough without any filling in it. And then leave one side like it is, and then from the other side, come over and about halfway in the middle, cut it all the way down, almost to the end like so. Then flip open your two halves like this, where their face or the inside's facing up, and then wrap together to twist like so. And then pinch the ends, and then one hand you're going to roll this way, and that one I'm going to roll that way like that. And then bring it around to meet on that end and pinch it together like so. And then take it and put it on your baking pan on some parchment paper, like this. Now, what we'll do is we'll cover it with some plastic or a big baking bag for rising, and we'll let it rise for another 30 to 45 minutes and till it's risen to almost double in size, and then we bake it at 400 degrees for 25 to 35 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. Then we'll glaze it with the apricot jam or preserves, and then we'll drizzle it with our icing. So once we get done with it, we'll come back and show you the end result. All right, y'all, our apricot sweet bun wreath is done, and it only had to bake for 25 minutes at 400 degrees, and it got nice and done. So now the next step is I'm taking about 1/4 of a cup of apricot preserves, and then I put like a 1/2 tablespoon of water in it and just stirred it to get it a little bit thinner. And then you just take a pastry brush and you just glaze over the whole bun wreath with the apricot preserves like this. It gives it a nice shine and it adds some sweet flavor to it. So you just literally be generous and brush it all over the warm loaf, like so. If you don't want bits of apricot in your jam, you can run it through like a little wire sieve thingy, but since it's already got apricot pieces in it, it doesn't bother me for it to just have little bits of the apricot still in the preserves that I brush on with the glaze. And it's all covered. So now you just make your glaze, and I have like 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar in here, and then I have 2 teaspoons of water in this. I'm just going to put a little bit of water in and stir it up, and then if I need more water, I'll add more. You just want a glaze, not too thick, not too runny, and you're just going to drizzle it over. Just going to put a tiny bit more just to thin it out a little, and as it sits there and cools and dries, it will, you know, get firm on there and harden. It's not going to stay runny. So now you just take that and you just drizzle it over, and it doesn't matter how you do it. You can do it in twirls like I'm doing, or you can just pour it on back and forth, back and forth. This makes it an excellent little breakfast pastry. Just cut off a slice and pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds and heat it up. It's delicious in the morning with a cup of coffee. And that is our apricot sweet bun wreath. So, if you enjoyed my video making this delicious bread wreath today, please leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, share my video with others. Please go back and watch my other videos. I appreciate you guys watching a whole lot. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see y'all next time in Nini's Texas Kitchen.